The first impossible photograph appeared before the moon had fully vanished. My camera screen flashed once in the desert wind. And there I stood in the image, high on the summit of the Great Pyramid, one gloved hand pressed against a black door that did not exist a second earlier. My boots were still planted in the sand below. Welcome to Teresa's Aura lore. Close your eyes, let the modern world fade, and let the ancient whispers begin. The tripod legs trembled under my fingers, their metal joints ticking softly as if something beneath Giza had begun pulling at every screw, hinge, and lens ring around us. Nadia El Masri crouched beside the equipment case and pressed both hands over the copper fragments inside before they could slide out. She warned us in a low voice that the samples had begun moving toward the pyramid by themselves. And even Dr. Elias Grant stopped writing long enough for his pencil to roll off the page. My name is Arthur Raleigh, and by all sensible standards, I should have been nowhere near a restricted survey line during a lunar eclipse. Yet my family money had funded the legal scan of those fragments. My 2 doctorates had brought me to the edge of their riddle, and my memory had already locked every scratched symbol into place. The copper marks matched an old pattern of reversed stars, older than the safer explanation Grant had proposed that afternoon. I had spent half my life translating dead languages, and the other half testing ancient geometry against the sky. But that pattern still made the muscles in my jaw tighten. Omar Farouk moved behind the cameras and placed one steady hand on young Saeed's shoulder. He reminded me that his grandfather had warned him about eclipse shadows around the pyramid, then added that old warnings sometimes survived because someone once ignored them. I tightened the strap of my field bag and checked the knife, compass, and compact torch at my belt. Pride pushed me one step forward before caution caught up, but loyalty held me there long enough to make sure Nadia, Omar, Grant, and Saeed all stood clear of the shifting gear. The moon sank deeper into the Earth's shadow. The pyramid's dark shape stretched across the sand, then bent away from the moon's true angle, sliding past our boots like a black river choosing its own course. Grant leaned close to my main camera and told us, with a voice gone thin from awe, that several medieval copies of lost Egyptian star texts mentioned a night gate above Khufu. Nadia answered him without taking her hands off the copper pieces, reminding us that a photograph could lie. But moving metal and a displaced shadow demanded a better explanation. Saeed tugged Omar's sleeve and told him that the dream road had started. His bare heel dragged a crescent in the sand, and the black edge of the pyramid's shadow touched that mark, swallowed it, and left the sand beneath it glazed with cold silver grains. The next photograph is loaded. This time the black door stood wider, and the version of me inside the image had turned his head just enough for the side of my face to catch the dying lunar light. No reflection could do that. No software error could bend the pyramid's shadow across real sand, drag copper toward buried stone, and place my future body on the summit, while my present hand still gripped the camera. The shadow reached the low stone foundation beyond the survey lamps. A narrow seam split open across the sand-caked blocks, and a breath of colder air pushed upward, carrying a dry mineral taste onto my tongue. I told the others to stay close, keep their hands free, and follow only where my boots landed. Then I stepped into the pyramid's shadow, and the sand beneath my soles turned cold as night water. My own shadow lagged behind me by half a heartbeat. When it finally snapped back to my heels, every camera behind us went black at once, and the open seam in the ancient stone waited ahead, like a mouth that had remembered my name. We followed the bent shadow away from the lamps and the panic of the cameras faded behind us with each careful step. The desert wind kept moving over my shoulders. But inside the pyramid's shadow, the sand under my boots cooled into a thin, dark path. Nadia knelt at the low stone foundation and brushed the sand away with her gloved palm. Under the grains, faint arcs of copper stain curved across the blocks, and she quietly explained to us that a circular instrument had once rested there. Not an altar, but something made to measure the sky. I placed the 3 broken copper mirrors along those curved stains. The jagged rim of the first mirror scraped across my glove, and its dull face refused my reflection, holding only a small cut of red moonlight from the pyramid summit. The marks on the earlier fragment, the height of the eclipse, and the reversed belt of Orion formed a clean angle in my mind. Grant did not challenge it. He pressed one mirror steady with both hands, his years of theory narrowing into that one trembling strip of light. When the third mirror settled into place, the final ring of red lunar light climbed from copper to stone. It touched the pyramid's point, then dropped, not onto the summit, but into the deepest part of the shadow at our feet. Saeed pressed closer to Omar and told me that the door in his dream had never belonged to the stone, but to the shadow. The answer shifted inside me with quiet precision. The black door was not an entrance, but a directional lock, waiting for moon, pyramid, copper, and observer to stand in one breath. A low hum rose through the foundation. The wind still combed the sand behind us, but beneath it, another sound began. Slow and soothing, as if a buried instrument had accepted the first note. A seam opened between the blocks. Cold air pushed upward through it, and loose sand slipped over the edge in thin streams, uncovering a narrow stair that descended under the foundation. Nadia examined the cut of the stone and told us that no modern thief had made it. Omar reminded us that the moon would not wait for our courage, and if the light returned before we found the way out, the shadow road might close behind us. I went first. The stair scraped my shoulder, dust slid into my collar, and my palm followed the wall downward through alternating bands of chill and faint warmth. As if the stone carried a sleeping pulse, the passage tightened around us. I ducked under a low beam. Nadia pressed her scanner against the wall. Grant's notebook brushed a carved ridge, and Omar guided Saeed across a sunken step with one quiet hand. At the end of the shaft, a sealed side chamber accepted the copper light from Nadia's scanner. Star lines covered the walls, and when my knuckles tapped 3 small points in the shape of Orion's belt, each point answered from inside the stone with a different tone. The positions were wrong, not shifted by time, not bent by the slow turning of the ages, but reversed with deliberate mathematical care. I explained to the others that the map was no mistake and no primitive guess at the heavens. Nadia placed the copper fragment into a gap in the wall and added that the chamber did not lead toward a tomb, but toward an underground sky. The fragment clicked into place. Fine blue light bled through the carved lines, not bright enough to fill the room, but enough to make the dust turn slowly over our boots like a quiet spiral of stars. A first instruction formed where the blue lines crossed. Nadia drew a copper measuring rod from her kit, and the length of it matched the symbol from the fragment so perfectly that the old mechanism seemed to have borrowed our modern tools before we arrived. We found the hairline crack in the floor by dragging the rod's tip over the stones. I set the rod into the slit and adjusted it to the pyramid's slope angle, and the metal began to tremble in my grip. First, like insect wings, then like a steady pulse. Blue light opened beneath the floor. It rose beside my boots without touching the dust, then drew the dust inward making the particles drift down into the cracks like a small galaxy returning home. The second instruction answered from 3 corners of the chamber. Black stones rose from hidden sockets, each one rough, heavy, and flecked with dark grains that clung to our gloves. Grant began to calculate from the familiar sky, but I stopped his hand and reminded him that this room obeyed the reversed stars. His excitement softened into concentration, and together we shifted the numbers until Orion's belt turned downward into its buried twin. We took 1 stone each. At my signal, our hands turned them slowly, and every inch changed the direction of the blue lines on the walls, as if the chamber itself were rotating the sky beneath our feet. When the final stone settled, the hum deepened. The desert wind above and the buried vibration below folded together. And in that quiet union, the Great Pyramid seemed less like a monument than a vast instrument being tuned in the dark. The second rhythm beneath the floor grew slower, not louder. The chamber answered by parting at its center, stone sliding away from stone, until a black sarcophagus rose from the opening without dust, without a lid, without a name. No gold lay around it. No painted face waited inside it. No mummy rested where a king should have been. Nadia ran her gloved fingers along the rim and told us that the shape was wrong for burial. She said it resembled a listening trough, something made for a living body to lie inside. While Omar reminded me that his grandfather's stories had never claimed the pyramid, only carried the dead toward stars. I placed my camera in Nadia's hands and asked her to keep recording. She warned me that if my heartbeat changed, I had to sit up at once. And Grant nodded with both hands, gripping his notebook, like a prayer he did not know how to speak. I climbed into the sarcophagus before anyone else could offer. Protecting them had always come before admitting fear, and some old pride in me still preferred the unknown to touch my body first. The black stone drank the warmth through my coat. My fingers settled along the inner wall and found a row of raised points, tiny as seeds, arranged like blind script and star coordinates at once. My breath fell close, low, slower. At first, only my own pulse moved inside the stone. Then another pulse arrived from far below, vast and calm, not chasing mine, not threatening it, simply waiting beside it in the dark. Then the second heartbeat matched mine exactly. The black door, the shadow, the bronze mirrors, the inverted sky, the measuring rod, the magnetic stones, the sarcophagus. All of them joined in my memory as one slow ceremony. The observer was the final instrument. The thought passed through me just as the raised points beneath my fingertips lifted one by one. Blue light moved around the sarcophagus rim. It did not flare or shine. It gathered like quiet water, touching my wrists, my sleeves, the edge of my camera strap still hanging from Nadia's hand. The stone beneath me gave one deep answer. At the far end of the chamber, the black door opened. I sat up slowly. The carved stars on the walls were no longer still, their points flowing backward from stone to floor, then through the open door like a river of night being called home. We passed through together. No tomb waited beyond it, no altar, no treasure. Our boots reached the edge of an underground sky. Deep blue light held under the floor, and when my toe crossed its rim, small stars scattered outward from my step like ripples in silent water. Far ahead, the sand began to divide. A vast stone tip emerged from darkness, pointing downward, not up, as if another pyramid hung beneath Giza and had only just begun to wake. Grant told us, almost without breath, that all his years had not been searching for proof, but for this single sight. Nadia touched nothing, only held the scanner steady, while Omar drew Saeed gently behind him. For once, I did not step first. The pyramid below us rose another inch. The ground answered with one low heartbeat. The black door narrowed as the eclipse faded. We returned through it in silence, climbed the hidden stair, and came back to the sand as dawn thinned over the pyramid stones. The cameras still stood where we had left them. The final photograph was not of Khufu nor the moon. It showed me alone before the entrance of an inverted pyramid, the copper measuring rod in my hand. The timestamp belonged to tomorrow. When my glove opened, deep blue sand clung to the center of my palm. Before I could close my hand again, the blue sand arranged itself into 3 small points. Orion's belt, inverted once more, but this time it was pointing west, away from Egypt, toward a place my memory had never dared connect to Khufu. The journey into the forgotten concludes here, but your peace remains. If your mind is ready for deep sleep, simply stay in the present moment, close your eyes, and let the upcoming music carry you away.